quick headlines before the intro. Today is June 3rd, and the big AI story is not just another shiny agent demo. It is the bill behind the agent. GitHub's new Visual Studio Code Copilot release says terminal output from tests, builds, linters, Docker, and package managers is now compressed before reaching the model to optimize token usage and help reduce costs. That is the Microsoft ecosystem admitting the quiet part out loud. Agentic coding is useful, but raw terminal spam is expensive. At the same time, GitHub Copilot's usage-based billing is now live, with AI credits replacing the old premium request unit model. The Copilot app and CLI keep getting more agentic. GPT 4.1 has been deprecated across Copilot. OpenAI added active account session controls to ChatGPT, and Anthropic expanded Project Glasswing to about 150 more organizations. Today's theme is simple: AI agents are moving from WoW demos to governed, metered, security-sensitive infrastructure. Receipts up, hype down, let's lock in.
Powered by artificial intelligence.
The lead story is GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code, because this is where the token cost issue becomes practical. GitHub says the June 3rd changelog covers VS Code releases v1.120 through v1.123, shipped throughout May and early June. The headline product direction is agent-first development, an agent's window and stable preview, remote agents over SSH or dev tunnels, multiple sessions side-by-side, session sync, chronicle commands, and continuing work on the agent host protocol. But the detail that matters for today's video is buried in the terminal safety and efficiency section. GitHub says expanded terminal output compression now covers more verbose output patterns from tests, builds, linters, Docker, and package managers before that output reaches the model. That is the Microsoft token reduction decision we need to pay attention to. Not a vague promise. Not a rumor. A product-level change that reduces unnecessary context before the language model sees it. Anyone who has used a coding agent knows the problem. One failed test command can dump thousands of lines into context. Docker can flood logs. Package managers can print pages of dependency noise. Linters can repeat the same warning in 50 files. If the agent sends all of that back into the model burns tokens reading junk. Compression is not glamorous, but it is exactly the kind of engineering that separates an agent toy from an agent tool. The more agents run commands, the more the platform has to decide what information is signal, what is noise, and what should never be sent to the model at all. Story 2 is the billing shift, because this is the business reason token reduction matters. GitHub says usage-based billing for Copilot is now live for all users. As of June 1st, all Copilot plans bill based on GitHub AI credits consumed, and each plan includes monthly usage. GitHub's earlier company blog explained the change directly. Premium request units are being replaced by AI credits, and credits are consumed based on token usage, including input tokens, output tokens, and cache tokens, according to the published model rates. GitHub Docs also says 1 AI credit equals 1 cent in United States dollars. The important part is the logic behind the change. GitHub says Copilot has evolved from an in-editor assistant into an agentic platform capable of long, multi-step coding sessions, latest model use, and repository-wide iteration. A tiny chat question and a multi-hour autonomous coding session cannot rationally cost the same. That is why Copilot now needs budgets, usage reports, pooled included usage for organizations, and model pricing visibility. For viewers, the takeaway is blunt: the agent era is also the metering era. The old mental model was, I paid for my subscription, now I can ask. The new model is, what did this task cost, which model did it use, how much context did it read, and was that context actually necessary? That is why VS Code compressing terminal output is not a footnote. It is part of a broader move to make agentic coding economically survivable. Story 3 is control. The same VS Code release expands bring your own key support, including air-gapped BYOK environments, a custom endpoint provider, a model picker organized by provider, and real token visibility for BYOK models. It also adds reasoning effort controls in the model picker, so users can balance quality, latency, and cost. And it lets teams configure utility models for smaller background jobs like titles, summaries, rename suggestions, commit messages, and intent detection. This is the part many people will miss. Model choice is not just a power user toy anymore. It is becoming a budget and governance surface. If a frontier model handles every tiny utility task, costs climb. If a cheap model handles a complex refactor, quality drops and the agent may retry until the savings disappear. Good agent platforms will route work intelligently, strong models for high-stakes reasoning, cheaper models for repetitive support tasks, compressed logs for noisy command output, and strict controls for sensitive terminal prompts. GitHub even says passwords, passphrase, pins, and verification codes stay in the terminal and are not shared with the LLM. That is the right pattern. The future is not one model doing everything. The future is a stack where context, model, permission, and budget are chosen deliberately. Developers get more power, but they also inherit more operational responsibility. Story 4 is the interface layer. GitHub's Copilot CLA update adds a redesigned experimental terminal experience, tabs for issues, pull requests, and gists, rubber duck, prompt scheduling with /commands, and local voice input. The local part matters. GitHub says voice input runs locally, so recorded audio stays on the user's machine. On the app side, GitHub expanded the Copilot app technical preview to existing Pro, Pro Plus, Business, and Enterprise customers, while free users and non-Copilot users can join a waitlist. The most important design idea is canvases, structured work surfaces where agent progress becomes visible, editable, and verifiable. This is why today's episode is not only about billing. Billing is the pressure. Better agent interfaces are the response. If agents are going to run longer, spend credits, open browsers, edit files, and schedule automations, users need places to supervise the work without reading an endless transcript. A canvas can be a plan, pull request, browser session, release checklist, migration board, incident, spreadsheet, dashboard, or workflow state. The agent reads the canvas and updates it. The human inspects, steers, edits, approves, or rejects. That is the emerging agent operating system: terminal, browser, model picker, billing meter, budget guardrail, memory, scheduling, and a visual work surface. The product that wins will not be the one with the loudest demo. It will be the one that makes agent work inspectable before it becomes expensive. Story 5 is model churn. GitHub says GPT 4.1 was deprecated across all GitHub Copilot experiences on June 1, including Copilot Chat, inline edits, Ask an Agent modes, and code completions. The listed suggested alternative is GPT 5.5. GitHub also notes that Copilot Enterprise administrators may need to enable access to the alternative model through model policies in Copilot settings. Why does this matter? Because agent platforms are no longer stable wrappers around a single model. They are fast-moving systems where model availability, policy approval, pricing, and workflow compatibility can change on a calendar. For solo users, that might mean picking a new model in a dropdown. For enterprise teams, it can mean reviewing safety, data policy, evaluation results, procurement rules, and developer guidance before a model becomes available. This is another reason token accounting matters. When the platform changes the default or deprecates a model, teams need to know what happens to quality, latency, and cost. Does the new model produce shorter patches? Does it need fewer retries? Does it read more context? Does it cost more per token but solve tasks faster? The Copilot story is no longer just which model is smartest. It is which model is approved, affordable, and reliable inside the actual workflow. Story 6 is OpenAI's security update. OpenAI's June 2 ChatGPT release notes say active sessions are rolling out as a security feature. Users can review first-party OpenAI sessions from Settings, Security, Active Sessions, with details like device, app, approximate location, sign-in time, trusted device status, and whether the session is the current session. Users can also log out of individual sessions or all sessions. OpenAI says active sessions covers sessions known through session management, including ChatGPT, Codex, and API platform sessions where available, while excluding third-party app sessions and some connected app flows. This sounds ordinary, but in the context of Codex and computer use, it matters. AI tools are moving closer to your machine, your code, your files, and your workflows. When a coding agent can run locally, be steered remotely, and remain connected across devices, account security becomes part of the developer toolchain. A stale session on an old laptop is not just a chat history risk. It can become a project access risk. The same release window also includes OpenAI's Codex Remote Control Update for Windows, where users can start work on a Windows machine and steer it from ChatGPT Mobile or Codex on another machine while the Windows host keeps the files, shell, app server, and local context. That is powerful. It also makes session visibility and logout controls less optional. Story 7 is Anthropic's Project Glasswing expansion. Anthropic says the program is moving beyond its initial group and extending to approximately 150 new organizations, each needing to meet security requirements before gaining access. The new group spans more than 15 countries and includes sectors that Anthropic says were not well represented in the initial cohort: power, water, healthcare, communications, and hardware. Anthropic also says many partners are vendors and nonprofits that maintain codebases relied on by governments and other organizations. The most important line is not just the expansion number. It is the bottleneck. Anthropic says the bottleneck in cybersecurity is now verifying, disclosing, and patching the large number of vulnerabilities that Mythos-class models can surface. That is the same pattern we saw in coding agents today. AI can generate more work than humans can review. It can find more logs than context can afford. It can surface more vulnerabilities than maintainers can patch. So the next step is not only stronger models. It is workflow infrastructure, triage verification, safe disclosure, patch generation, rollout, and safeguards against misuse. This story pairs directly with Microsoft's token compression and GitHub's budget controls. Agentic AI is scaling the amount of work generated. Now the industry has to scale the systems that decide what work is real, safe, affordable, and worth acting on. Final takeaway. Today's AI news is really one story told from several angles. Agent power now needs receipts. GitHub is compressing noisy terminal output before it reaches the model. Copilot has moved to AI credits tied to token usage. VS Code is exposing token visibility, reasoning effort controls, configurable utility models, terminal risk assessment, and better agent session management. Copilot CLI and the Copilot app keep moving toward an agent operating system. GPT 4.1 is gone from Copilot, with GPT 5.5 listed as the alternative. OpenAI added active session controls as Codex becomes more remote and desktop aware. Anthropic is expanding an AI cyber defense program while warning that verification and patching are becoming the bottleneck. So when you hear Microsoft reduced tokens, do not think of it as a tiny optimization. Think of it as a signal. The industry is learning that raw agent power can become raw cost, raw risk, and raw noise unless the platform manages context aggressively. The next phase of AI will be judged by boring but crucial questions. What did the agent read? What did it ignore? What did it cost? Which model handled which task? What permissions did it have? Could a user revoke the session? Could an admin cap the spend? Could a reviewer verify the result? Those questions are the difference between a neat demo and a tool you can trust in production. That is the UGTP lens: fast signal, full receipts, no fluff, and no pretending the future is simple just because the interface looks clean. Check the description for every source used in this episode.